Hector Garcia is the president and founder of MBN Creative and has been in business for over 20 years. He was the first in his family to venture into starting his own company. He's joining us today to discuss the evolution of his firm that has become a creative design partner for Fortune 100 companies, as well as a wide range of middle market companies and early stage startups as well. He's also a friend of the program and a member of the Critical Mass community. Hector Garcia, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Rick. It was a beautiful drive in. It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood.
It's great to have you here. Let's start simply. What makes MBN Creative unique, different? Why do clients do business with you?
I believe it's our approach, and our approach is probably a little different than most, and it's evolved over time. I'm looking for long-term relationships. I'm not looking for project-based relationships. So long-term, sustainable, developable. I want to be a client's inside guy. Inside outside guy.
Okay.
So often a lot of our clients have in-house design staff.
Yeah, because I say you work with Fortune 100 companies.
Absolutely,
they must, right?
Yes. But they look to us for things that you're not going to get in an ordinary 9-to-5 type of a situation. I've been in the agency side as a worker. Now I'm a business owner, and I feel like I have a pulse on what clients want. And I kind of tend to go deep pretty quickly with clients.
Okay.
I want to get exactly what's going on in their head, in their mind, when they're in their vision, and I want them to get me. And and I break down that barrier, there's nothing but trust, baby, and it's freaking awesome. It's amazing.
Well, what a great start to the show. I told you it was going to be a good show, ladies and gentlemen. So tell me about the name MBN Creative.
Well, it evolved. So probably 25, 26 years ago, I was working at an agency, and I started my own firm, and it was Mac by night, actually, because at night I was just, I was busting it.
Okay, you're working your
all
day
hours.
job.
Yes,
okay.
yes.
Entrepreneurial story there.
Entrepreneurial, yeah. So I was on my Mac at night. So Mac by night, I had a really cool 3D logo, and it was kind of funky and cool. And at some point, in the next few years of hustling, I had an opportunity to go out on my own. So I took that opportunity, and shortly thereafter, I actually got approached by a friend who worked at a Fortune 100 company. And he said, bro, you got to change that name. You can't do Fortune 100 with Mac by night,
Okay.
So I changed it to MBN Design. And we carried MBN Design for probably a dozen years, maybe more.
Right.
But as I'm out and about, I'm in the business community, critical mass for business. I network a lot. I connect a lot. It felt as though the word design was generic.
Okay.
We're not generic. We're anything but.
Right.
So
that's true.
Creative has a more elevated meaning to it, and I think we embrace that, and that's part of our culture. Is we're very creative.
Well, you are very creative. I can attest, ladies and gentlemen, and he's not paying me for this, but I can tell you as a fact, he is the most creative designer, and his team is the most creative team I've worked with. We have seen work that he's done where he's the before picture of a package design, and then the MBN Creative version. And I always like the MBN Creative version. I don't know why I like it better. It just resonates better. But you know why I like it better. That's the magic of what you and your team do, right?
Thank you, Rick. Yeah, that's a big part of what we do is we'll take fill in the blank package, brand, and website, and we refresh it. So probably maybe half of what we do is refreshing an old tired design. Maybe something that doesn't communicate very well.
Well, but in the website world, which I know is a big part of your business as well, we're going to talk about kind of the niches here in a second, Hector, but it doesn't have to be an old tired website to no longer be relevant. I mean, you sort of have to keep refreshing and keeping that current based on a consumer's taste, etc., right?
Absolutely, yeah. It's not about us. It's about the consumer.
Right.
We can make it as pretty, or anyone can make it as pretty as they want. If it doesn't sell, it does not matter.
Right. And it's a science and art of what you do to figure out what is the right placement, colors, design. How do we direct the eye? How do we get them to make a decision?
Impulse purchase, yeah.
Yeah. Well, and then there's that.
Sure.
Right. So what are the areas of focus for MBN Creative now, Hector Garcia?
The areas of focus.
Yeah, your niches. Like, what do you do?
Well, So we've been specializing in consumer packaged goods for over 20 years. That's our niche,
Right.
specifically food. Have we done other things? Yes, we've done, tons of office supply products,
Yes, you
tons of
have.
cosmetics. Our artwork, the products that we've designed, adorn the shelves of virtually every grocery store, big box store, convenience store, office supply store, drugstore, you name it,
Right.
across the country.
Yeah, so if you go shopping today or tomorrow or later this week, you're probably going to see something in the aisles that you've designed. You may not know you did it, but you're going to see it, right?
That's it. That's one of our slogans. You may not know us, but you've seen us.
Right.
We're
Yeah,
out there.
right, and I can attest to that, especially in office supply stores, etc. But also in addition, and I know package design, you've done Hispanic package design, but you also now are extending that branding into the digital space. You
Yes.
mentioned before website design, etc.
Sure.
Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, absolutely. So I've always wanted to do websites, but it wasn't until
Why?
maybe
Why?
it was just a natural
'Cause
progression.
and they
Our
suck?
clients are asking.
And so many of them suck.
Yeah, kind of, we'll do a package and we go, okay, let's check out this, do our research. And we go, wow, look at this site, man. It needs some help.
Yeah, it's hideous.
So it doesn't take a lot to help. But I've been searching for years for the perfect, what I say is I collect unicorns. That's the word, unicorns.
I was worried there for a minute.
Because every one of our staff is multifaceted and experts in those facets.
Uh-huh.
So, for instance, our web guy, I searched for him for a long time. I found, because I was on the hunt. I'm on the lookout always for talent. So this gentleman, I call him a unicorn because he doesn't only design websites really, really well, he can program like nobody's business. And we get along amazingly. So it's phenomenal. It's a phenomenal fit.
Right.
I've been in very large corporate, offices where maybe there's someone in there that has an ego and they're like, you know what, I design websites and I do the coding. And then they see our design and they're like, why don't you guys do the design and I'll do the coding? So a little testament to.
So are you saying the design work that you do for your clients in the area of the website is a collaborative effort between you and your unicorn?
Yes, absolutely. And I mean, our entire team, we're a small team. We're agile. We're all unicorns.
Right.
We all have expertise. One of our designers is an expert photographer and an expert designer. There's another designer that's an expert illustrator and designer. So we all have multifacets.
This is totally off script, but you've always over the years, and I've known Hector for 11 years, you've always talked about the work that you do when they do food design and packaging. I mean, the pictures of the food and how that's not really what it appears to be.
Correct.
And I just stumbled across the video of somebody showing how they actually prep food for the photograph and all the product that they use to make that thing look like a piece of chocolate ice cream.
Correct.
And it's like, oh my God. But then they show you what the actual thing would look like.
Yes.
And you go, well, yeah, that's not a very compelling photo, is it?
Right.
So there's a real science in when you do that, when you're involved in that aspect of it with your clients too, isn't it?
Yes, I've been doing a lot of high-level art direction for food photography, and it takes a team to make this happen. It takes hours and hours and hours to get one really, maybe a couple of good shots.
Right,
Yeah.
and they're bringing shoe polish in. I mean, it's
Everything.
amazing the stuff that they're bringing in, and they can make it look like that thing that's so enticing. But
Yeah.
if you really saw what went into it, you go, wow, that's not.
Note to the listeners, do not ever eat anything that was photographed the day before. You never know what's in
Yeah,
it.
stay
Or
clear.
on it, yeah.
We're talking with Hector Garcia. He's the founder, creative force behind his company, MBN Creative. I said in the open that you were the first in your family that ventured in to become an entrepreneur. Can you roll us back to that day? I mean, was it a big thing in your family when you said, I'm leaving my day job? Or did they say, makes perfect sense, Hector?
It was a big thing for me. I actually became self-employed in a day, so I had to make over the weekend, let's say.
Right.
I had to make a big decision. I was a homeowner, so I had a mortgage, a
Right.
wife, and 2 small daughters at
Yeah,
home,
right.
2 car payments,
Right.
meager savings.
Yes.
And I had to go for it. And my sister, who she's a mentor, to me, always been, she said, Hector, you have always been busy. You know how to make money. You know how to make things happen.
Oh,
And so she gave me that confidence. And isn't confidence everything?
it is.
Right?
Right. Especially
Yeah.
when you step into the unknown,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
You never owned a business before. You don't
No.
know. How did Yolanda react to your decision to give up your paycheck?
I don't ever give her enough credit. My beautiful wife and daughters, they support me wholeheartedly. And even back then, she knew I was, I think when I met her, a long time earlier, I was airbrushing posters and I was airbrushing T-shirts. And, you'd go into my apartment at any given time and there'd be like this blue haze of, ink coming out the door.
That's what
It's
it is,
just
ink?
just
Okay.
paint.
Paint.
Yeah, yeah,
Well, that's awesome. So she knew what she was getting into when she fell
Yeah.
in love with you.
yeah.
All right.
There you go.
That's awesome. Can you think of a time in your career where you failed at something that was at the time important to you? I mean, can you give us the sense for the circumstances and
Sure.
maybe what you did what could we learn from your failure?
Yeah, unfortunately, this isn't an original story, but back in 2008, hate to dig that back up again, it was a really, really rough time. When the economy turned,
Yeah.
we lost 60% of our business. I was in denial. I thought, this is coming back. My people love me. I got relationships. This is going to work out. And we hung on for a year, living off of credit cards and racking up, credit and business line of credit. And wow, that was tough. But today, we are so much leaner and meaner.
Mm-hmm.
We cut out the fat. We've learned new ways to make things happen quicker. And, part of our culture is we hustle, man. We kick butt every single day. We turn and burn, and our staff only works 8 hours, by and large, 97% of the time.
Uh-huh.
And so it's 8 to 5. Our clients know it. There's a few of our clients that have had, agency experience.
Mm-hmm.
So they appreciate us. They see us and they go, man, you guys are amazing. How fast you can turn and how just how good you guys are to us, because we really want to spoil our clients.
Right.
And so sometimes it bites me in the ass. Sometimes I'm driving home and it's 5 after 5 and I call the office and man, nobody's there. It's freaking crickets. But
there's good
we,
sides to that.
part of our culture is, hey, go home at 5. You're back rested. Back in my agency days, I never knew when I was going home. It's not good for family life.
Right. Especially if you're not the boss. I mean, if you're an employee and
Sure.
the expectation is you work until the work gets done and whatever, you stay till 7, 8 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
And then if the boss is gone, that's
Yes.
always a frustrating thing, right? From a
Yes.
cultural perspective. So
Sure.
you're not doing that at MBN Creative.
Right.
Good. As you might be aware that I wrote a book called Killing Cats Leads to Rats. I
Yeah.
say that only because Hector did the cover design for me. So if you see my book on the shelf somewhere, it's his design and his creativity. Can you think of a strategic decision that you and the team made that had an outcome that was different from what you had intended it to be?
Yeah, absolutely. So there is a, excuse me, there's a very successful client, right? Entrepreneur, made a ton of money. He approached us. He had a new product line that he wanted to launch, and he knew we were a good fit for, his brand. So it happened to be a particular brand that was aligned with a particular ethnicity outside the country, and we did our research, and we found out that orange was synonymous with this particular type of product. And so when we presented our concepts, a few of them were orange. Well, one of the gals in the room, a marketing gal, she made a comment right away, and she kind of jumped up and said, "Hey, I don't like orange. I've never liked orange, and I don't think we should use orange."